Shockingly, it's already been 6 months since Starfield was released. It received a lot of negative reviews when it first launched, but 6 months later, what has changed? Is it finally worth playing? This video might surprise you. As you might know, on this channel, I give my honest opinions and don't just agree with other videos and meat rides so I don't get hate comments, as I prefer to give you my honest thoughts. Essentially, I waste my time on games that make me want to trade lives with the nearest runt so you don't have to. Is Starfield worth your time? Let's find out. The new update. So the latest update for Starfield that was released recently did fix a lot of bugs that this game is riddled with. The list of fixes seems to go longer than your mum's disgusting toenails, but it's a known fact this game has been filled with bugs since release, so a list like this doesn't surprise me. More importantly, what was actually added to improve Starfield? And is there any new features? Well, we now have poses in photo mode that make Sarah look like a complete and utter knobhead. It's the sort of feature that is so game changing I'm struggling to sleep at night. On a serious note, the actual features that have been added are lackluster. The list of features are on screen, and don't get me wrong, some of these additions are quite handy, like being able to use the scanner whilst opening doors and adjusting the FOV in third person view on your ship, but they aren't exactly going to punch through a hole through my boxer shorts of excitement, for a lack of a better term. But the amount of fixes does kind of make up for it, and seems to be their main focus, which is the correct route to be taking. You don't want to build on a game that is filled with bugs. Loading screens removed. For some reason, a lot of people expected loading screens to be reduced in this update. I really don't know why, as that is the equivalent of expecting GTA 6 to release next week, or my gaming setup not getting dusty as hell 1 minute after cleaning it. Christ's sake, does anyone else's setup get dusty this damn quick? Sadly, the game is still filled with unnecessary loading screens, which ruins any immersion the game attempts to create. And if you have Starfield on PC and don't have an SSD, you'll be able to twat the nearest old hag down the street and get back in time before the game's loaded. You really do need an SSD to run this, otherwise it's unplayable. I don't really want to talk about this for too long, as talking about loading screens has been done to death, but those who expected this to be changed really need to bring their expectations down a few notches. Sadly, the amount of loading screens still makes it feel like we aren't even playing a current gen game. Better graphics. It's no secret that this game ain't too pretty. Don't get me wrong, the planets and surroundings can be quite impressive at times, but the character models, Jesus, it's the sort of thing that would make you violently shit your pants and need to seek counselling for the next few years. These freaks are beyond hideous. The new update claims to improve graphics, but when you look at the patch notes, it's mainly just small graphical fixes. Character models still look like inhuman car crash survivors, and the game as a whole looks no different graphically. But there is a list of very minor visual changes that have been made. Just don't expect anything like Red Dead Redemption 2 or Cyberpunk when it comes to the graphics. And this game still needs a lot of work in that department, especially when it comes to character models, as it really does feel like an Xbox 360 game at times, and there is no excuse for this. Has Starfield actually improved? People do love to compare Starfield to Cyberpunk, despite being two completely different games. Fans expect Starfield to be updated to the finished product within 6 months, but they can't forget it took years for Cyberpunk to be the game it is now, which I still don't think is perfect, but it is miles better than launch. And let's face it, it's going to take a long time for Starfield to be the finished article that we all want, and I'll stand by my point that the game should have been launched the finished article. We we shouldn't have to wait for big improvements to be made. But sadly, this seems to be the state of the gaming industry now. Release now, fix later. Thank bloody Cyberpunk for that. Let's be real, it will take a long time for Starfield to get to the level it should be at. It needs some serious improvements for it to start feeling like a true current gen game that deserves hundreds of hours of playtime, such as removing or reducing the huge amount of loading screens, which can't be done overnight, an overhaul of the awful and sluggish gunfight mechanics and stealth, which really are some of the weakest parts of this game. It feels seriously shoddy and clunky killing enemies at times, and stealth is a complete mess still. Even now, you can steal something from a shopkeeper right in front of them and they don't see nothing. He's got to be Stevie Wonder or something. But then sometimes the NPCs will somehow spot you stealing a toothpick and lock you up for life.
That's mine. Give it back.
Really?
Apparently that made me so dangerous and skilled at drink stealing that I was recruited for the special forces and going undercover into a massive pirate fleet. What the fuck?
This is the criminal incident that landed you in my crosshairs.
I drank somebody's drink on accident because it was on the table and nobody was near it. Really?
Character models need serious improvement to stop looking like a product of an incest relationship. The main story is filled with repetitive missions that become painful to do. You know it's bad when the side quests are more interesting than the main story, because at least you're not doing the same mission over and over again. Something needs to be done there, and potentially the option to land on planets manually should also be added, which you would kind of expect to be in a game like this, but I've got no idea if this is still possible to add. So from reading endless comments, along with my own thoughts and feelings towards Starfield, if these improvements were added, the game would be pretty amazing, but it's clearly not something that could be done in 6 months. It might take years like Cyberpunk, or it may not ever be added. So let's ask the all-important question: is Starfield now worth playing? If I was to be truly honest with you, the answer is no. Unless you buy the game very cheap, Starfield still feels like a massively mixed bag, as it never feels short of content and things to do, but its half-assed and outdated gameplay mechanics and endless loading screens make it a real chore. I found this out the hard way, 50 plus hours in, with a completely open mind, trying to not let the negativity influence my opinion, and I still came to the same conclusion. If you can't get it cheap, you would be best to wait until some serious changes are introduced. Don't make the same mistake I made, spending $60 on Cyberpunk when it first released, for it to be massively improved years later, but at less than half the price. It feels like I was royally rogered, but at least I'm not the only one. Do make sure to leave your comments down below, I would love to see what you think, and subscribe to my channel so you never miss any of my brutally honest takes on games. And if you would like to see my detailed video on the open world in Starfield, and whether it has improved in 2024 or not, make sure to click the card on screen. You don't want to miss this video, as the open world in this game is the main thing people care about. Thank you guys for watching as always, and have a great rest of your day.